Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman. Your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman, and welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. It's kind of a beautiful Thursday out there, a little overcast, a little sunny, a little cool still out there. So if you're having your nice ride into work or into school today, be safe on the road, enjoy the weather out there right now, because it might turn on us. It turned on us a couple times yesterday out of nowhere. So also pack your umbrella, because you just never know. It's some temperamental weather we've got going on right now. This morning on The Buzz, we're going to be talking about Social Work Month, at least in this first segment of the show. The 2026 theme is Uplift, Defend, and Transform. The Department of Children and Family Services have a series of events planned in recognition of Social Work Month, and hear from the DCFS to talk about the role that social workers play in our community, the challenges they face, and why investing in people-centered services is so important for the well-being and resilience of our society. Our guests, Lois Kellyman, Social Work Manager, and Davin Barrett, Deputy Director of Finance. So good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Very well.
Excellent. Oh, you won't need your headphones unless we get a call, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
No worries.
Yes. I know what headphones are like with, well, Davin, you don't have to worry about it, but sometimes it messes up my hair and I never want and I never want to wear them unless I got to. So I feel you on that. All right. So just to give a bit of a background on exactly what social work is. Some people have an idea or a little bit misconstrued on it. So if you can give us just a bit of a description exactly what social work is and what the role of a social worker encompasses.
So social work is a practice-based profession, and it really helps to promote social change and development, also empowerment of people. And we tend to work a lot with people who are probably the most vulnerable in society, persons who probably aren't able to advocate for themselves as well. We advocate for them, and for our Department of Children and Family Services in particular, we focus on the elderly and the children. So we are responsible for safeguarding all the children in the Cayman Islands, and we also look out for elderly as well. So within our department, we have a number of teams. We have teams that are specialized for different areas of social work. So we have a team that does is a family services unit. We have one team that is the elderly services unit. We have a team that's adoption, foster care, and aftercare. We have one that deals with youth services. So families are more looking at the younger children and, their family unit kind of thing. And then the youth services work with children who are probably at risk for coming before the court or are actually with the courts, more behaviors, more older children.
Okay.
Right? So the teenage children. Which one have I forgotten? Oh, there is MASH. So that's a multi-agency safeguarding hub where all of our referrals about abuse, neglect, any concerns that really people have that children are not really being cared for properly or may be at risk of harm. The referrals go into that unit. And then we have the safeguarding unit, which is they then take the cases that come into MASH once MASH has looked at them, and they take them and work them a little while before they go to the long-term units, which are some of the other units that I have spoken about. And then we have community development, and that's the unit that I manage. So community development really touches everybody from or all ages from birth to death. But it's community based. So though the people that we work with are not necessarily persons who are assigned to a social worker, but we go out into the community because, of course, the community is really a big part of protecting our children. That's where it starts,
A
right?
huge part. Completely agree with you.
Yeah. And so we work in the community a lot, and I can delve into that a little further in our conversation.
Okay.
Right. Oh, very well. And just to add to what Ms. Kellerman said, so like she's rightfully acknowledged, social work is a practice-based profession, and at its core, our social workers aim to empower people to impact change in a meaningful way, and that also kind of adds to the team that we have, the Uplift.
You got to move your mic in front of you.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Right? Which also contributes to the team that we are promoting this year, which is the Uplift, Defend and Transform. Yeah.
Can you talk about that theme actually a little bit? Explain what the theme means in the context of the work that's being done here locally.
Well, so the team, the Uplift, Defend and Transform, it comes perfectly from our NASW, which is our Society of National for Social Workers. And the idea behind the Uplift Defend team perfectly captures the essence of social work here in the Cayman Islands. It's more than a job. It's a three-part mission, so to speak. It's a time to, in a sense, publicly recognize how social workers uplift families in crisis. How do they go about providing hope and practical support when they need it most? They are the ones who walk alongside people, in a sense, during their darkest hours. They help them as they see their path forward. And it's also acknowledging the critical role they play in defending some of our most vulnerable, our children, our elderly, and their family. They are the voices for this special group, and they advocate and they're the protectors. I consider them to be within the system. And then the transform aspect of it kind of goes back to, through their dedication, how they impact meaningful change, breaking cycle of hardship, building stronger, a healthier family, which in essence runs hand to hand with the team, transforming.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, what we're all about really is, like we say, advocating and working with people to change the things that are not so good in their lives and help them to transform their lives, right? So Social Work Month is an international, we have International Social Work Day, which is international around all countries around the world. That is observed on the third Tuesday of every March, every year. But then the US, Canada, and the UK celebrates the whole month as Social Work Month. And so, as Davin said, the National Association for Social Workers is a US-based organization. So you'll find different countries have their own association for social workers. And they normally put out a theme which the rest of us tend to follow.
Right.
Right.
That's a normal thing,
But it's fine. Every year we put out a theme because we're looking at a particular aspect of the work or how we really impact as social workers the lives of the people who we work with and the people within. And even if we don't work with you directly, what we do with other people certainly impacts your life as well.
It absolutely does.
So
you are the unsung heroes of our community. That's
thank you.
how I describe social workers.
Yeah. So we just want to get it out there that social work is not necessarily only, as we work with people, it's not necessarily only not impacting everybody. It impacts everybody in the community. So it is, as Davin says, it's not an easy job. But it's one that you have to be passionate about. And I can tell you we have some really passionate workers in our department. They go above and beyond. They do everything they can to make sure children are protected, are safe. Sometimes, of course, what we do, not everybody is in agreement with it, because it's probably not what some people want to do at that point. But eventually, things work out. It is takes some long hours sometimes, but we work along with it, and
it's challenging most of the time. From what I understand, it's challenging cases pretty much that you have to work with. It's not the happiest go lucky incidents. This is at least from my understanding when it comes to social work. So on the other side of it, being a social worker, as I said, I think that you're the unsung heroes of our community. There's a lot of, I think, pressure on you mentally in your roles. So how are you supported in your roles? Because I can't imagine the stories that come to you as a social work manager, and knowing some of the issues that are going on amongst families, amongst the youth, amongst really vulnerable children and vulnerable seniors as well. So that would take a toll on me in that kind of a position. So how do you manage that sort of pressure as well that comes with the role of being a social worker?
But what we do in the department, we certainly encourage all staff and workers to take time for themselves, to remember to care for themselves, because as we know, it's difficult to care for others if you are not cared for.
Yeah.
So we certainly encourage that. I must say that in terms of our ministry, our executive management, they're very good at ensuring that we get some time away. Sometimes we do things like we have our retreats where we just chill, debrief, de-stress, and just have a good time. But also within the department, when there is someone who is going through a rough time, and we do know that sometimes we have persons who have lost because one of their clients have died or something like that, and it really can weigh on you heavily. So the managers or even the other social workers will lend support in terms of emotional support to that person, and give them time like we would counsel anybody else, to share those emotions, to express them, to deal with those emotions, and try to come to a place where they're a little more comforted.
That's great. That's a lot of support then within the department itself for all the workers. So I think that's really important. As we said, you can't pour from an empty cup per se.
Yes.
And it's the kind of role that requires you to be really present, right? We have to take a quick commercial break right now. When we come back, I want to hear about some of the things that you have planned for Social Work Month. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Swanson Curry Ebanks, 1914 through 1989. Curry Ebanks was the oldest of 10 children of John Audnett and Celestia Elvira Ebanks, and attended West Bay Primary School. Taught by some of the great Caymanian sea captains, he took command of his first ship at 17. He qualified as a master mariner at 21 and continued his life at sea until a car accident terminated his maritime career in 1960. He married 3 times and was widowed twice, and he fathered 8 children. He is best remembered for his victorious battle with the 1944 hurricane, which overtook his ship, the Jemson, en route from Swan Island to Grand Cayman. at the height of the storm, he decided to demast the ship to prevent it from rolling over, which would have meant certain death for everyone aboard. During the next 8 days, the ship had to be demasted 3 times. Each time, Captain Curry had the sails put into a seaman's bag and attached to the bow to function as a sea anchor, guiding the ship purely by dead reckoning. When the storm subsided and he got his first confirmed sighting, he was 5 miles off East End.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The annual Rotary Central Health Check is here, Saturday, March 7th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5 locations island-wide: Costules, West Bay, Ale Thompson's, Georgetown, Foster's Airport, Savannah United Church Hall, East End Health Center. Free blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar checks, healthy weight assessment, medical consultations, and more. Be a blood donor. The Rotary Blood Donor Mobile Unit will be positioned at the Savannah United Church Hall, Saturday, March 7th. Save the date and save your life. The annual Rotary Central Health Check. Free for you, valued at over $2,000. Your health is your wealth.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Social media: X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
On 925-3261.
all the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
Ready to launch your career in hospitality?
If you're an ambitious young Caymanian, the DART Hospitality Training Program is your opportunity to shine.
This paid 4-month program gives you hands-on experience at world-class properties like Kimpton Seafire, the Ritz-Carlton, Hotel Indigo, Hampton by Hilton, and Bonnie Moon Beach Club.
Plus, DART has partnered with Lynn University to deliver an intensive 2-week hospitality curriculum from an accredited institution.
Gain real-world experience, learn from the industry leaders, and open doors to full-time careers in hospitality.
Applications close April 6, 2026, with programs starting May 2026.
Apply now at dart.ky/hospitality.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking with the Department of Children and Family Services in regards to Social Work Month. In studio with me, I have from the DCFS, I have Lois Kellyman, Social Work Manager, and I have Davin Barrett, Deputy Director of Finance. So, Lois, you were just telling us, the different teams within the DCFS, and I think we were going to get into the calendar, but I think Davin had wanted to touch on what you were saying as well before we get into that calendar.
Sure. So, as Lois quite mentioned, that we have various different teams who support the social work activities and what we do. My team, which is finance, we are considered to be the invisible support system that allows social workers to do their jobs effectively. So one of my roles is to ensure that our social workers have, in essence, a financial structure that they need to uplift, defend, and transform. I see myself, in a sense, as an enabler of their work by turning some of their visions into reality. And that sometimes just means ensuring that the necessary financial resources are available for them to do the work that they need to do. social workers identify, in a sense, the needs that maybe a new program that may be geared at a youth that is at risk. They may, through community development, identify a family that needs to be resourced, or we may need more services from a financial perspective for foster families who care for some of our vulnerable children. So my role is to ensure that our budget, in a sense, effectively speaks to some of those needs, provides the necessary training programs from a financial perspective to enable the social workers and our department to offer programs that aim to uplift, defend, and transform. And in a sense, their profession is backed by, it's a resource-based profession as well. There's only so much you can do without resources. So finance team and what we do, in a sense, enables them to do their work without necessarily worrying about the red tape, without necessarily for them worrying about whether or not are we going to get the necessary approval. So we take care of those smaller things to allow them to focus on what they need to do. As Deputy Director of Finance, I also oversees operations, which means I oversee the effective running of the fleets that they use to do their home visits, ensure that they're cleaned, ensure that they're operational, they're working, it has gas. And just taking care of those small behind-the-scenes things enable them that when they're ready to go and be of support in the community, they're able to do so effectively.
So my big question for you now, Davin, we're talking about resources here and how important it is, especially as a community, just to invest in these people-centered services. It is my very strong belief that the DCFS is extremely underfunded. I would say that all around the world for when it comes to departments that try to assist the vulnerable.
Right.
How are we doing with that? Do we need a lot more support?
So we do get adequate support. It can always be more. There's never enough resources to cater for our children and families. We have a great relationship with our community partners who assist us sometimes in donations and funding, that assist us in some other areas of our program that we may not necessarily have the appropriate funding for. There are times when we don't start with all of what we need, but there's a process through government. It's called filing a cabinet paper that you can make requests for additional funding that may support or supplement an area where initially we lacked the full essence of the resources that we need financially. But yes, we're always in need for additional resources. Is never enough. And because whilst the needs are complex and they change, sometimes it creates a strain on what we may have planned for prior. I'll give an example. For example, there's immigration changes or legislation changes that have an impact in cost. So previously we budgeted, for example, this is what we need for food and dietary supplies for our residential homes, which is a part of our program as well. We now have our vendors who are coming back at higher cost, which now cuts into our budget.
That's so interesting because it was very much said to us that this will not ever affect the cost of living or anything, impact Caymanians. So thank you for sharing that. I'm just saying, it's the truth. But in what you're saying here, yes. If you could think of a program that you might want to do or have on the ground now that could use assistance with, is there anything that comes to mind?
Certainly.
Okay, right. I'm ready for this.
Right into community development. So one of the things that we do as community development, we consider ourselves the ears and the eyes of the department. So we're out in the community day to day. We're doing our different assessments, needs assessments and stuff. We're working with stakeholders. And the stakeholders are the individuals in the community, as well as businesses, other agencies, that everybody. But we also, because we want to be more proactive than reactive, we try to do programs that will sort of prevent persons from actually becoming a client of the department. So with that, and like I said, we go from birth to to grave, really. That's who we cover in terms of community development. So, for example, one of the programs we do, we work along with the Department of Education in the Early Childhood Unit and FRC. We've come together and we have created a roving parent mentor program that will actually go into the homes that have been identified and actually teach and or demonstrate for the parents how they can work with children. And right now we're looking at the early development stages, so children who are not yet in preschool. So how they can work with them to motivate them, to stimulate them, to just help to get them ready for when they are ready to go into preschool. So that's a program that's been very effective. We started that last year, so we're going into our second year of the roving parent mentorship. That one we need volunteers to be roving parent mentors. We need funding to help support those, because those volunteers, they will get a stipend, but they're not fully paid, but they do an awesome job. So that's one program. Another program we have two programs two branches of a program, one in East End and one in West Bay. It's a youth empowerment program. We have some funding now. That funding may or may not continue, but we would like to roll it across the island. So again, that's a program where we look at children who are not involved in activities that are wholesome, and able to bring them in, especially after school. We work with them. And the program is actually built around what the young people have said to us, that this is what they would like to learn more about. Nice. This is what they would like to do. So it's all taking them into consideration. At the same time, we make sure that they get tools and techniques that will help them as they go through life. So we talk about exploitation of children, what that looks like, so that when they see, they can recognize it and are able to sort of move away from that, or to say what they need to say and report to who they need to report. We know that children are having a lot of pressures these days. Some of them are depressed and there's just a whole lot going on. So, we give them that information as well. Lois. So we need funding for that. And I need to do a plug before we end. We also have foster parents. We need foster parents big time. So anybody who is out there who's listening and would like to help in some way, shape, or form, just reach out to the Department of Children and Family Services. When you speak to the receptionist, just let them know you'd like to help in whichever way you can, and they will put you on to whoever it is the right person.
Okay, you said a lot of great things right here. I wish we could speak a lot longer. I need you to give maybe 30 seconds of what's going on this month, because I did say we're going to talk a little bit about the calendar, and then we got to go to the 8 a.m. news, which starts now, but 30 seconds.
So social work calendar. Mostly what we're doing this year is just doing a lot of appearances on media appearances, because we realize that we do and we do and we do, and we don't really talk about what we do. So the public doesn't really know what we do. They think all we do is take away children. That's not all we do. And we really don't want to take away children. We rather work with people to make sure family lives are okay. But so that's mostly what we're going to do. We do have a church service that is coming up, and it's open to the public. That church service happens this Sunday at Agape at 10 o'clock. And then we have our social work awards.
Yes.
So that is to really recognize the social workers who have done a great job throughout the year before. And the main award for that is a Joyce Hilton Award. And most people would have known Miss Joyce Hilton as a pioneer for social services in the Cayman Islands. So that award is funded by the Joyce Hilton Foundation and continues to honor her legacy and her work as far as social work is concerned. And then we have our social work retreat, so where we are able to chill. And yeah.
All
So
right. On
that's
that
it.
note, thank you very much. We're past the 8 a.m. news, so I got to go to that right now.
No
It
problem.
was great to have you on. We could talk way longer about this, so I'm gonna have to tell your comms people I need longer time with you guys,
Thank you.
or maybe I'll have to give them longer time instead when I'm giving them options. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I know that you're going to be back on Radio Cayman a few more times throughout the month of March, so we can learn more about the Department of Children and Family Services and what you do for social work in the Cayman Islands. We're going to go to the 8 a.m. news right now, and when we come back, I'm going to be talking about a women's conference with First Baptist Church.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
It was a successful second reading of the Immigration Transition Amendment and Validation Bill, a housekeeping bill to sort out issues that popped up as government looked to implement the related 2025 Act that was passed back in December. Immigration Minister, the Honorable Michael Miles, tabled the 3 fresh amendments on Wednesday.
First, it was then determined that after the bill had been approved by the members of Parliament, that the transitional provisions had inadvertently excluded certain categories of person. This meant that the new 20-year qualifying period would apply to them instead of having the current 15-year qualifying period apply. The qualifying period is the time after which someone may apply for the right to be Caymanian. It was not the intention to disadvantage persons who fall within these categories. The members of the NCFC government wholeheartedly agreed that the current 15-year qualifying period would apply to them, and this update is not to change the spirit of the law, but to provide clarity to ensure that it is applied as intended.
The Second Amendment also set up the legal framework for the expedited processing of immigration applications and, quote, validate previously charged expedited immigration fees.
For over 15 years, the government has been offering the opportunity for temporary work permits to be expedited in their process for a fee. However, we have found that while this express fee was set out in the regulation, the fees were not enabled in the primary legislation, the Immigration Transition Act. This was uncovered as the legal drafters were establishing the express fee for the grant.
And finally, the National Coalition for Caymanians Administration has determined a, quote, urgent need to add a deeming provision confirming that anyone born in the Cayman Islands on or before March 26, 1977 has a right to be Caymanian without having to apply to the Caymanian Status and PR Board or the Director of Work for confirmation.
Imagine being born in these islands, your roots stretching back many generations, and yet the moment you apply for a job in the private sector, walk into government office to open up a business, apply to become a notary public, apply for a government scholarship, apply for financial assistance in a time of hardship, or try to obtain a national ID, only to be told you must first submit an application to the Department of Work along with an affidavit and other supporting documents, then wait for the director to confirm what you already know, that you're Caymanian. This, Mr. Speaker, is the daily indignity faced by Caymanians as of right.
The bill was given a second reading with 18 ayes and 1 abstention. And new figures from the Health Insurance Commission show thousands of residents almost lost coverage last year, but many were able to stay insured. Here's Radio Cayman's April Cummings.
The Health Insurance Commission logged just over 77,000 orders in 2024. Those dealt with everything from canceled policies to high-risk applicants and general complaints. While tabling the Commission's 2024 annual report in Parliament, Health Minister the Honourable Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes said a big part of that caseload involved intervening when people's health insurance plans were cancelled.
Notably, 3,647 policy terminations were investigated and successfully resolved so that employees were able to retain health insurance coverage. 883 applications were also processed on behalf of persons with high-risk conditions, including pregnancies, allowing them to obtain health insurance coverage despite their pre-existing medical conditions.
Overall, the total number of insured residents rose to just over 80,000 by year end, but more than 2,400 indigent patients were also relying on government support through the Segregated Insurance Fund. The minister says ongoing inspections and public education are aimed at keeping insurers compliant and policyholders better informed. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. There have been multiple massive blasts in Tehran and other Iranian cities as the US and Israel carry out a sixth day of attacks. Video online appears to show Tehran's Azadis football stadium severely damaged. Iranian state media say 1,045 people have been killed since the start of the conflict. The Iranian army has denied launching drones that struck an airport and near to a school in Azerbaijan's western territory of Nakhchivan, near the Iranian border. Azerbaijan's foreign minister, Ceyhun Bayramov, has condemned the attack and said his country reserves the right to retaliate. That's the latest. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Craving something bold, juicy, and packed with flavor? Introducing KFC's new crispy barbecue sandwich served on a soft, buttery brioche bun. That's 100% KFC premium chicken breast, perfectly crispy, deliciously smoky with crispy onions, cheddar cheese, and barbecue sauce. Just the right amount of messy in the best way possible. Stacked with layers of bold KFC flavor, this sandwich is your new obsession. But hurry, it's only at KFC for a limited time. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today at any of the 3 KFC locations on island. KFC, finger licking good, just got bolder.
Radio Cayman News.
Police have arrested a 52-year-old man on suspicion of robbery.
Carried out a search at a West Bay residence and during the operation located and arrested.
Identified a disciplinary matter involving several students.
2 Grand Court trials are set to begin today following the swearing in of juries earlier this week.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
7 days a week.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcade, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 80 degrees. Relative humidity is 88%. The barometric pressure is 29.96 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 8 knots. Overnight low temperature was 77 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas, along with some isolated showers, are expected across the Cayman area over the next 24 hours as low-level moisture and an upper-level trough linger over the northwest Caribbean. Satellite imagery shows scattered clouds with embedded convection over the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for today is calling for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Tonight, cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Today's high tide will be this morning at 10:18, low tide this afternoon at 4:33, with a high tide again tonight at 8 minutes past 11. The sun will set this evening at 6:31 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:41. And the outlook is calling for a chance of isolated showers and possible thunder through Friday morning as instability remains across the area. A decrease in these conditions are expected thereafter.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy.
Janelle? From spring break 08?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Britcade. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcade, where people come first.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. is brought to you by The Light Room. Tired of being unwell and struggling to find the energy and vitality to live the life you desire? Come get recharged from the inside out at The Light Room. Our non-invasive, holistic energy enhancement system detoxifies and energizes the body, enabling self-healing and balance. Book online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL, 38 Pasadora Place, GT.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Top of the morning, let's check in with traffic, see what's happening on the roads. A little overcast out there, but no rain at the moment. Of course, that's not saying that there won't be rain later on. Let's take a look at what's happening on our roads. Shamrock Road and Rex Crichton Boulevard. Traffic is flowing steadily, and as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway, bumper-to-bumper traffic. And on Cool Road, slow-moving traffic heading to the Georgetown area, and heading east on Cool Road, traffic is moving at a moderate pace. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing moderately in both directions, as well as on Northstown Road and the Industrial Park area. Steady bit flowing traffic coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway, and traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way is at a moderate pace, and continuing on to Huldah Avenue, and steady traffic coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway and Agnes Way. Expect some delays. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Remember, click it or ticket.
Craving something new? Dive into Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes inspired by the flavors of the coast, including the crunchy seafood bliss, the scrumptious chipotle tuna crunch, and the delicious breaded fish and ranch sub, made with our new breaded fish nuggets. Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes made to rock the boat. Only at Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Aunt Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The annual Rotary Central Health Check is here. Saturday, March 7th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5 locations island-wide. Cost you less, West Bay, A.L. Thompson's, Georgetown, Foster's Airport, Savannah United Church Hall, East End Health Center. Free blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar checks. Healthy weight assessment, medical consultations, and more. Be a blood donor. The Rotary Blood Donor Mobile Unit will be positioned at the Savannah United Church Hall, Saturday, March 7th. Save the date and save your life. The annual Rotary Central Health Check. Free for you, valued at over $2,000. Your health is your wealth.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. We are talking about the upcoming Christian Women's Conference 2026 at First Baptist Church. So I am your host, Kathy Miller, and I am excited to say that in studio right now for this segment from First Baptist Church, we have Pamela Fowler, we have Debbie Webb Sibley's, we have Shervain C.C. Stewart, and we have Sarah Ryan. They are here to tell us about the free island-wide event for all women happening March 13th and 14th. At First Baptist, and this is a Christian Women's Conference, but it's also Women's Month. So, you know, the timing, the alignment is perfect, and I'm happy to have you ladies in studio. How are you all doing this morning?
Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you. Thank you for coming. So before we get into details about the conference this year, I'd like if you could share a little bit about yourselves, a little bit of background with our listeners, describe your role with First Baptist Church and the conference. Whoever wants to start.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Okay, so my name's Pam Fowler, and I am a volunteer at First Baptist, and I am sort of coordinating the conference overall. So I'm the person sort of sitting behind, doing all the bits and pieces to draw everything together. I've lived in Cayman now about 28 years, and I'm so thankful because before I came here, I was not a Christian. So this is my sort of spiritual home. This is where I found the Lord. So I'm just forever thankful that I came to this tiny island in the middle of the sea, and God found me there and called me. So yeah, I'm thankful.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like I want to have a whole other discussion with, with you going from that, but we're going to stick to the theme today. Cece.
Sure. Good morning. So I'm Shavane Stewart, CC. I am from the Bahamas, so I've lived in Cayman for about 8 years now. Also a volunteer at First Baptist Church. My current role is co-lead for the prayer team that really supports the overall ladies ministry through prayer.
Okay, excellent. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ryan. I'm actually married to Stephen Ryan, who is one of the pastors at First Baptist Church, and he's Caymanian, originally from the BRAC, and I'm one of the co-leaders of the women's ministry, and very excited to be able to invite the ladies of the island to participate in what will be our third conference with a speaker actually coming to speak instead of live streaming something.
I think that's awesome. That's great. All right. And Debbie.
Debbie Webb Sibley's, born and raised here in Cayman, retired civil servant, and I am very much involved with assisting in organizing this conference. I find that it's so important for us to know that there is a place that we can attend such conferences where women can fellowship together and not just learn more about each other, but learn more about who God is.
All right. Thank you for introducing yourselves and painting a bit of a background who you are and your involvement with First Baptist Church. So we're going to get into details about the conference now, and if we can get the heart behind this year's Christian Women's Conference.
Last year, a few of the ladies from First Baptist, we attended a women's conference in Indiana that was put on by Revive Our Hearts and the Gospel Coalition Women's Conference. And we were able to attend and participate in so many different program sessions where international speakers were present. And we believe that it was important for us to continue to have such conferences available in Cayman, because here in the Cayman Islands, as with a strong Christian background and heritage, that we are able to worship freely and without any hesitation. So it was important for us to recognize that we could continue to open our church doors to others, not necessarily just to First Baptist members, but to all women throughout the Cayman Islands, regardless of their denomination. And we wanted to bring a similar experience to Cayman by having this conference, an open door type conference for women in the Cayman Islands to participate in.
Okay, the theme for this year's conference is Who is Your God? Why was this theme chosen for 2026?
Well, Katie, I mean, right now in the world, things are getting increasingly worse, right? We hear about the wars in Iran and everything that's happening in the world, from human trafficking, political unrest. And then individuals are dealing with their own personal struggles and hardships. Some people even grapple with a lack of hope. And so with this conference, knowing who our God is, we're hoping that we're able to really share with women from all over Cayman who God is, who is his character when we talk about this God, so that when we find ourselves in situations, we're able to call upon God and be relying on his character, which says that he is self-existent. He is the all-supreme God. He is reliable. He is trustworthy. And so as we teach about God, we want ladies to be able to know and be able to approach him with confidence, understanding who he is. And so that is the hope from this theme in this conference.
I love that. And especially with, as you said, there's a lot of unrest globally in the world. And it's very much affecting us here in Cayman because some of our neighbors, you see what's going on with Cuba. Some stuff might be going on with Bahamas, where you're from, right? So that's, it's affecting us. Mm-hmm. So we think that even though we're in the Cayman Islands, it's a little island, we're out in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, and we seem somewhat safe here, there's a trickle-down effect, and we are impacted by it. So being able to come together and, as Debbie said, in fellowship I think it's so important because we can share these same kind of sentiments that we have and worries, and how do we get through things together. With the theme, who is your God? And just Pam, just because you did share that God found you when you moved here, I want to ask the question for you. So who is God for you? Who is your God?
Well, as I've experienced him draw me closer year by year, as I grew up, I was in a very traditional, sent to church, but my parents didn't come to church with me, but they sent me. And I've always felt God drawing me. Wherever I traveled in the world, I always would look for a church on a Sunday morning. So I was Anglican rather than Catholic. In England, there's sort of two main choices when I was growing up. And I just felt that wherever I went, God drew me to church. And I don't know why that was, but I'd be backpacking around Africa, for example, and I'd find a church to go to on a Sunday. I didn't understand the gospel, but I felt him just draw me because I loved to be in his presence. And then when I came to Cayman, I did the same thing. I've got to find a church because it's what I've always done. And out of almost routine, came to First Baptist. And it wasn't till actually after Hurricane Ivan, we were in the gymnasium for, I think it was about 18 months as the church was being renovated. And just one Sunday, it just all became clear to me. He took away the blindness from my eyes, and I just saw Jesus for who he was, what he'd done for me, that he went to the cross for me, took my sins upon himself and stayed there until he paid for every single one of my sins. And that just blew me away, and I just fell to my knees, literally in tears, and said, Jesus, I'm sorry, and asked for forgiveness, and felt him bring it to me. And from there, he's just continued to draw me daily to himself. I spend a lot of time in the Word because that's how God communicates with us. So part of this conference is studying the Word. So Dr. Karen Ellis, we're excited, is going to bring us the Word for all three messages of the conference. And really, it's our nourishment. If we are Christians, we should delight, the Bible tells us, in the Word. And so the more time you spend there, the more riches and treasures you uncover. So yeah, that's really my heart for the Lord and what he's done in my life. He's transformed me. And yeah, I love him to bits.
I think that was so beautifully shared with us. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I know it was a bit of a personal question, me asking you.
No, I love to share that story. So thank you for the opportunity.
It was very, very beautiful. I know we're getting a call via WhatsApp. So we'll take a minute with that before that happens. But we're in the third year for the conference. I think that's what you said, Debbie, right? Yeah, third year for the conference. So 3 years, you're going to learn a lot, right? But what makes this conference different from the first two? For whoever wants to get that question.
We're following a similar theme in that we have a Friday evening where we have some food and snacks and greeting. We have goodie bags and stuff for those who attend. And then the speaker will share. We'll have actually the choirs performing, which is always a treat. And the Saturday is actually going to be similar. I think that the speaker might be doing a slightly different format for the speaking portion, but in general, we've followed the same format because it's worked really well. And we usually get good feedback. And like Pam was saying, it's really a nourishment for the soul. I think she actually referred to the conference as kind of being like a spiritual spa, having an opportunity to to come together and relax, but also be challenged and encouraged.
I like the idea of a spiritual spa. It sounds beautiful. It sounds nice to me. So the format, what is the format of the conference? If you've kept it the same throughout the, this being the third year, what's that format look like?
So on Friday evening, the conference itself starts at 7, but from 6:15 we do have food available because we recognize that some people are coming straight from work. So if you're really tired on Friday and you're driving home and you get into the Lions Centre and you're like, oh, I just need to go home and put on Netflix, don't do that. Turn right into First Baptist Car Park. We will have refreshments available for you to just, take you on to that time when the conference finishes and you go home. And you won't regret it. Dr. Karen Ellis is an amazing speaker. She's an extremely strong woman of faith. She's also incredibly intelligent. She has 3 degrees, I think, including a PhD. And her heart is for the persecuted and for prayer. And so she'll be speaking on Friday night for one message, and then on Saturday we will have the coffee on from about 7:30, so you can just stumble out of bed and don't doubt your coffee before you can get it at the breezeway at the church. And Saturday we'll start again. There'll be breakfast delicacies, so come and have breakfast with us and socialize with your sisters in Christ. That's one of the parts that we love about this, is that it's probably one of the largest gatherings of sisters in Christ from across the island. And we would love it if people came from Cayman Brac and Little Cayman as well. We realize it's a flight, but we would love to see you and fellowship with you ladies as well. And there will be 2 more messages on Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, Susan, did we have a caller? Is it the caller there or no? Oh, they are there. Okay, thank you for hanging on, caller. So if everybody could pop their headphones on. Good morning, and thank you for calling the Buzz.
It's my first time listening to you guys. Listen to persons from the Baptists.
Yes, it's my first time having people from First Baptist on.
Yes, but I love the topic. Who God is.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of gods.
Hello? Are they still there?
Generally.
Oh, you cut out a little bit.
You.
You cut out, ma'am, after you said there's a lot of gods. Could you repeat what you said after that?
Right. There's a lot of...
I don't know what's going on, but your phone keeps cutting out. Oh, gone. The call is gone. Yeah, maybe it could have been something with the caller's phone, but would have really liked to hear what the caller said. So hopefully we can get a charge back and a better connection, and then we can hear what that caller has to say. But right now, I think we're going to go to our first commercial break. And then when we come back, we are going to continue our discussion about the Christian Women's Conference with First Baptist Church.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Grow your business with Breeze 105.3 FM and Radio Cayman. From spot packages to full campaigns, we've got rates that fit your budget and your goals. Email our sales team today, rcsales@gov.ky. That's rcsales@gov.ky. Let's get your message on air and reach listeners who trust us every day.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about the Christian Women's Conference with First Baptist Church. So from First Baptist, we have Pamela Fowler, we have Debbie Webb Sibley's, we have Shervain C.C. Stewart, and Sarah Ryan. And they had just given us a little bit of information about the Christian Women's Conference. We're in the third year. And, I had a big point that just completely left my mind. But we're in the third year, and the theme is, who is your God? We got to hear a little bit, Miss Pam just shared with us, for her, who God is for her. As she said, she found Christianity when she moved to the Cayman Islands. So I loved hearing that story. I thought it was really, really beautiful. And we heard a little bit about what the format of the conference is. And now I'm going to ask for the organizing team what the preparation for this year's journey has been like. Because I know, I know what putting on conferences is like, and I know you were going to learn things from previous years. So what has your preparation for this year been like?
Well, we started from last year, identifying potential speakers, and then we identified Dr. Karen Ellis, and which then led to sending an invite to her. So we've been involved in a lot of team meetings, looking at the whole format and looking at the promotion pieces of it and identifying what media type promotion we needed. Mm-hmm. So this has been ongoing for a couple of months now.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else in the organizing team want to chip in at all?
To some extent, we're all. It's not a huge team that organizes. I would say that Pam she's very well organized and keeps us knowing and giving options for what we can do. I know Cece, as she said, is co-lead with the prayer team, which is foundational to it. So there's been prayers ongoing. Honestly, that team continues whether we're planning a conference or not. But given the nature of bringing someone in, there is obviously, you have to kind of plan ahead and give an opportunity for the person to respond and that kind of thing. And then there's the ongoing prayers, not just for the speaker, but for all of the ladies who will be attending and for what God's going to do so that we can know who is your God. And then there's just practical things that we do as a women's ministry team and then coordinate with the church and the elders and everything else as far as organizing food and those kinds of things. It helps that we've done it a few times. We've actually done a conference, I think 5
or 6 years, yeah.
5 or 6 years, but this is only our third time having a speaker actually come in.
Oh, okay.
So previously we would have live streamed a conference, which was great too. I think we started actually when we were still operating with masks and social distancing, but so we've had the benefit of various years of, smoothing certain things out, but honestly finding that it doesn't have to be super complicated. Mm. I say that, but I'm sure Pam has more to offer because she honestly takes a lot of the load, which is a blessing to all of us.
It doesn't have to be super complicated, Pam?
No, it doesn't. And I'm thankful because, it probably takes about 50 or 60 volunteers over the course of 2 days to just give some of their time. And I'm so thankful because the ladies at First Baptist are, again, stepped up to give an hour or two of their time within those 2 days to help in the preparation, because I couldn't do it alone. The organizing team couldn't do it alone. We need those additional people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really been a year in the making. We start looking at, what were some of the prayer requests? What was the heart of the prayer room, which we have set aside during the conference? We always get feedback from the women who pray with women who come to pour out their hearts during the conference. We don't obviously take names and that sort of thing at all, but just what was on the heart of the majority of women who came, what are their struggles, what were they asking for prayer for? And then we pray about that, and then we just ask the Lord to make it clear to us what the theme would be, and that doesn't come overnight. We sort of discuss it and talk about many different things. And this year as well, we always tie it in with a Bible study, which is a church-wide Bible study for the women of First Baptist, which coincides with the theme. So we have that running in the 8 weeks prior to the conference, just to give us all a bit of background and help us to look a bit more in depth. So we've been looking at knowing God by name. So looking at 35 different names of God in Hebrew from the Old Testament mainly, and some of them not in Hebrew from the New Testament, but just looking at these names and what do these mean. So that will just give us a little bit of an introduction to what Dr. Ellis will come and talk to us about at the conference itself. So that as well takes additional planning, but we have about 6 different Bible studies going on throughout the Church of Women, probably about 80 women in total who have been looking at that over the course of 7 weeks.
That's pretty amazing, and that's a background bit that most people wouldn't ever understand. And when you just told me there's 35 different names for God.
There's actually a lot more than that.
A lot more than that.
But
I had no idea. I guess I'm not as familiar either, because I'm just like, well, really? There is? So that's so interesting to me, that kind of the level of preparation that you are doing anyways when it comes to just studying the gospel. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very, very interesting. Can you share, I know we mentioned Dr. Ellis, but if you can share a little bit about the keynote speaker, what drew you to her ministry and message? Like, the vetting of speakers happens, and I'm sure you were looking at a number of different speakers, but what was it about Dr. Ellis that said, this is the lady that we'd like to have?
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but
that's all right.
So I heard Dr. Ellis speak at a conference many years ago, and she did a 2-message presentation on the Lord's Prayer, because prayer is something that I think a lot of us think that we're not particularly good at. We're kind of a little bit afraid of it. How do we do it? What do we say? And she broke down the Lord's Prayer and said, this is how Jesus teaches us to pray, because that question was asked of him by his disciples. Lord, how do we pray? And he said, okay, let me give you a little mini tutorial on how you pray. And so she broke down the Lord's Prayer. And since then, I've sort of stored that away and thought, yeah, she's good. That would be great to have her come down. And it just so happens that this year we really felt that as we take a journey on prayer, which Cece can probably share about how we do that at First Baptist and amongst the women's ministry, it would be great to have her come down, because she has a heart for prayer. I know that her messages are likely to include quite a lot of encouragement in that area. So,
Cece, could you take us through what Pam was just talking about there?
Sure, certainly. So as Sarah would have mentioned a bit earlier, prayer is foundational to everything that we do, right? And so the prayer team, it's a small group of women, and we just find it as a privilege and an honor that God has entrusted us to be able to pray on behalf of others. And so throughout the year, we continue to meet and pray just for God's direction and guidance for our lives and for the things that we continue to do. And so there are different aspects of the church that we pray for. This just so happens now to be the women's conference. And so for the past few months, we've been really concentrated in prayer around this, ensuring that we're, covering the speaker, the different aspects of the conference, the women that are intending to come, the volunteers. As you would have heard from the ladies, there is so much that goes in to planning this. So ensuring that we are praying and really seeking God to understand exactly what he wants to do and what it is that, he is asking us to really just be committed to. Prayer is one of those things that will continue to be a part of what we do as women. And Pam would have mentioned the prayer room. So as a part of the conference, we create a safe space for women to come and be able to find another lady that they can connect with in prayer. The Bible talks and tells us about the agreement of prayer and the power that is in that agreement. So as ladies are coming and, they're burdened down and maybe have issues they're going through and just want to talk to someone, we have that space where they can go off and connect, and also have prayer cards that they're able to write down their prayers on, very generally. And we take our assignments very seriously. So we take those prayer requests and we pray over them as a group, and we divide them and then pray over them continuously, even post the conference, because we really want to see a change in these women's lives. So prayer is important.
It's very important, and I don't want to delve in anybody's privacy per se, but from your understanding, especially leading the women's prayer group at First Baptist, are there similar things that women right now, maybe in this past year or two, similar kind of things that women are facing? For me, I'm a little bit afraid of women's rights being taken away, for example. That's like a really big thing that's in my mind that I'm freaking out about. But is there other kind of similar things that women are coming to you that you can share and say this has been heavy on women?
Definitely. I believe Pam started to allude to, us going through the cards and seeing what's on women's hearts. And some of those things we see are relating to marriage, relating to family, finances, just some levels of different abuse that women may be experiencing. And so really just being able to put them all into these different categories. You'll be surprised, what individuals are dealing with. As I mentioned earlier, everyone has their individual hardships and struggles, and it's always good to come together in community. And this is one of the reasons as well why we're putting on this ladies conference every year. There is strength in numbers, strength in community, right? When you find someone that's going through something similar to yourself, there is this level of connectivity, and we're able to encourage one another. So definitely some themes coming out in some of those requests.
I think that's so important what you said. And even in the previous segment with the DCFS, we touched on community and how important it is just really to invest in ourselves and look out for each other. Mm-hmm. And I think there's too often, and it's very much in culture here that I've experienced, of a mind your business kind of thing. And don't get into people's, but we like to talk about people's business with behind their back, but mind your business at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with that a lot, because I'm like, no. I think one thing that I learned a couple things from COVID during lockdown, but one of them was how much human connection matters, how much we need each other, and we actually needed to connect with each other. That was huge to me. The other one was learn how to farm a little bit, grow some vegetables.
Just to add on to what Cece shared, we also realized that the social fabric is not as strong as we would like it to be, starting from within the homes, the families. And I just want to reiterate that there are women who are walking around in Cayman functioning or trying to function who are living some hardship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And living in some brokenness. And as Cece explained, when we receive their requests, their prayer requests, their individual prayer requests, again anonymously, we can identify and group them together in regards to one person pray for the family, one pray for the anger issues, for unforgiveness issues. And we also need to acknowledge that, historically speaking, the Caymanian woman is the backbone of our families in our homes. And if she is broken, then what else is happening within that family structure?
Yes. Yeah. You said a lot of deep things right there, Debbie. A lot of things for us to unpack. Oh, and she used to be a social worker. She just whispered to me. You can't just whisper that. I'm going to tell people. But it's very, very, very true. A lot of deep things, and we need all day to talk about these things. But it is true. And how do we? And a lot of the times we don't reach out. So how do we support each other? And I think having a conference like this, having a network like this, having the prayer groups like that, where you're helping people through prayer. Which is huge. Sometimes that's just all what people need and don't know how to ask for it. So I think that's a beautiful thing. We have to go to a quick commercial break right now. But when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about Dr. Ellis, find out a little bit more about her. And then I want to ask as well, is there a wrong way to pray? And I'll tell you why I asked that when we come back from the break, okay?
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Got something on your mind that you want to share? You can send a text, send a voice note, or even request a song. Go on, give it a try. Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, #Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The annual Rotary Central Health Check is here. Saturday, March 7th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5 locations island-wide. Cost you less: West Bay, Ale Thompson's, Georgetown, Foster's Airport, Savannah United Church Hall, East End Health Center. Free blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar checks. Healthy weight assessment, medical consultations, and more. Be a blood donor. The Rotary Blood Donor Mobile Unit will be positioned at the Savannah United Church Hall, Saturday, March 7th. Save the date and save your life. The annual Rotary Central Health Check. Free for you, valued at over $2,000. Your health is your wealth.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. We are talking about the Christian Women's Conference organized by First Baptist Church, and in studio I have Pamela Fowler, Debbie Webb Sibley's, Shervain Cece Stewart, and Sarah Ryan, all from First Baptist Church and part of organizing this Christian Women's Conference. I said I wanted to ask if there's a wrong way to pray. And the reason I ask this is this morning on my way in, most people who listen to me already know that I have road rage. And somebody cut me off this morning. I live only like 30 seconds away, but they cut me off. And boy, the stuff that was coming out of my mouth in my car. And then I said, just stop and pray right now. And I did. I was thinking about it, and I put my podcast on pause. And I just prayed right then and there. But then I think I got distracted and I didn't finish my prayer. I didn't say amen or finish it, close it off. Is that a wrong way of praying?
Before we answer the question about the right way to pray, a friend told me once, in regards to how to deal with the road rage, to ask ourselves the question, why am I allowing this person to spoil my day and to take away my happiness? So how I try to deal with road rage is pray and say, Lord, just give me the strength not to respond in anger.
I'm going to try this, Debbie. I need to pray that every day.
Because I can't allow anyone to take away my joy.
All right.
Well, it sounds like you were making that effort. You stopped and you prayed.
Yes.
I think that we could probably agree that the only real wrong way to pray that comes to my mind is not praying to God. If we're just we have a tendency to say, my thoughts and prayers are with you or whatever. And it's a good sentiment, my thoughts are with you. But besides feeling the love of someone that they're thinking of you, there's not a lot happening with that. But when we offer our prayers to the Lord, the one who created us and who loves us individually, who sent his son to die for us, there's power in that. So directing your prayer to that God and asking him, even if it's help with road rage or if it's something that is weighing on us or it's a family member, it's a healer, whatever it is, I would say that God gives us so much freedom because he invites us into having a relationship with him. And he's provided the way, like Pam said, that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And so if we've approached God through Jesus, then he's made that door open. Yeah. And sure, he gives us parameters with the Lord's Prayer of how to address the Lord and maybe the order we should say things. But no, I think that he gives us freedom to be open with him and that we don't necessarily have to end it with a love, Sarah,
Yeah. I think sometimes we overcomplicate prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is simply talking to God, right? And so it's personal. It's a very personal thing. And so you may talk to him one way. I may talk to him another. I'm very casual with God. I'm like, hey, God, it's me. Hey, I need your help today with some patience, right? So it's a very personal walk and relationship with God. So I personally don't think there is a wrong way, like Sarah would have mentioned, as long as you are praying to God through Jesus, I think you're covered.
And it's also important to acknowledge who God is.
Yeah.
In our prayers, acknowledging that He's the Creator, our promise keeper, the way maker. He delivers His promises. And if we stop and reflect on different aspects of our lives, we can acknowledge that whatever happened, it was divine intervention.
Led by God.
Yeah.
And I think certainly my prayer journey at one stage, I think I was almost treating God like a slot machine. So it's like, Lord, I pray for this, and I'm praying for this, and I'm praying for this, please. Can you do all of those things? And, you know, He tells us, come to me in prayer, ask me what you will. But what I wasn't remembering is that He's sovereign over all. He answers every prayer, but He doesn't answer every prayer in the way that I want it answering. And so it's really important, I think, to say at the end of every prayer, Lord, this is what I'm asking you, but thy will be done. Amen. Thy will be done, and may I be accepting of it. And that's a really hard prayer to pray, especially when you're praying for someone who's sick and you really want the Lord to work a miracle in their life. He doesn't always bring them to a healing place on this earth, but if they're a believer in Christ, He will heal them, but it will be when He brings them to glory on the other side. And so praying for thy will to be done, I think, is a great way to always end our prayers, in the recognition that, Lord, help me, help my heart to be accepting of whatever you want to do in your world that you created for your glory.
I like that approach too. I think that's a very powerful approach as well. And we had touched on when that caller had called in and said, I wish we could have heard what that caller was saying, right? But she was touching on that there's many gods, or that people will recognize many gods. And then the phone call kind of got cut off. You know, we didn't hear everything else she could say, but based on that alone, is there any reflection?
As Christian women, we believe in one God. We believe He's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and He reigns throughout everything. He's in control of everything because He's the Creator. Sometimes we create little mini gods by putting things or people on a pedestal. And we always have to remember that God said He's a jealous God, that there should be no other God before Him.
Okay. Any other reflections, ladies?
Well, the Word says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so no one comes to the Father except through the Son. And Jesus is the one that gave the ultimate sacrifice for us on the cross. He took on our sins, and He laid Himself bare to be judged and to be killed by His creation. And so the mere fact that He did that for me, I give Him my life. So He is the only way.
All right. Thank you for that. As I said, I wanted to turn to Dr. Ellis a little bit. We only have about 6 minutes left, so I want to go back to your keynote speaker here. I know that part of her presentation will focus on a particular passage in the Bible. It's Matthew 16, verses 13 to 20, which I'm not going to know from from my limited knowledge, I want to say. So I'm relying on you ladies here.
Come to the conference and find out all about it.
But do you know why she's focusing on this message?
I think it's actually really fitting with the theme of who is your God, because Jesus is interacting with His disciples, who were the closest friends He had that followed Him while He was serving for the 3 years before His crucifixion. And He said, you know, who are people saying that I am? And so they start naming, you know, previous, like, passed away famous prophets, and then more recent famous prophets. Actually, one of them was His cousin, and they are listing who people are kind of guessing who this guy might be. And then Jesus asks them, but who do you say that I am? And Peter, who tended to speak his mind very quickly, said, you are Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. And so he was able to acknowledge who he was. And Jesus said, you've spoken rightly. And the Lord, like the Father, has revealed this to you. And so the fact that that's the theme passage actually just reinforces that question. Instead of just having the question, who is your God, which is very open-ended, this provides an answer and a direction that our God is the creator, as Debbie was referring to. We've named some of the attributes he has, the characteristics he has, but he is the one and only God, and he sent his son as a way to have a relationship with him. And as we were talking a minute ago, one of the unique things about the God of the Bible who sent Jesus is, I think that it is the only expression of faith and the only God that doesn't demand that we work for our salvation. Every other religion points to sacrifices of some sort or duties that you do if you're good enough. And where you might say in the Old Testament, well, there were sacrifices. The whole point was to point to the fact we couldn't work our way to a relationship with him, that he was providing ways for us, and then he provided the ultimate way, which was Jesus. And so we have the freedom of recognizing that it's nothing that we can do. It's only what he has done. And that's such a release from that works-based mentality. We all think if we're just good enough. And he takes that part away and says, I love you as you are, and I've provided the only one who's good enough.
I love that. That was so beautifully said.
And I think I would add, that you probably have a lot of listeners who perhaps aren't Christians, and they're listening to this thinking, that's, it's not a relevant segment for me, maybe. I would say to all of those people, just for a moment today, sit down and think about, who do you say that Jesus is? Mm-hmm. Because one day you're going to come before him and he's going to say, what did you do? Who are you? Etc. Not that he doesn't already know, because he does. But who do you say that Jesus is? And some people will say, oh, he was a great teacher. He taught great things. He talked about love, forgiveness, all of the things. When people attacked a woman, he said, okay, the first one who is sinless, throw the first stone. Nobody did. So he did great things, but I don't believe he's Son of God. I don't believe he's part of the Trinity. But then, if you believe he's a good teacher, but you don't believe he's the Son of God, then you must believe he was a liar. So how can he be a good teacher as well as a liar? Because he said, I am the Son of God. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So there's only one absolute truth in this world. So you have to decide, who is Jesus? Mm-hmm. He can't be a good teacher and not the Son of God, because you're then saying if he's a good teacher and he's not the Son of God, then he must also be a liar, and the two don't go together. So you really need to sit down and take a really hard look at the Gospels, at all the evidence that points to the Gospels being the written word of God, and then make a decision about who you think God is and who you think Jesus is.
And we can learn a little bit about that at the conference, for
Amen.
sure. For sure. So I know it's a free event for ladies. How do people sign up? And do you have to be a part of First Baptist to attend? Give us those details.
It's open to every woman on the island. And we have made a registration link on our website, which is www.fbc.org.ky. And there's a drop-down menu that says what's happening, and then you can register. If you can only attend one night, you can click that, but by all means, register for both and come as you're able. There's even some childcare provided for, I think it's 5 to 12-year-olds?
4 to 12-year-olds, and the childcare is free, and you register for it through the main registration project.
Okay, I love that.
If there's any additional questions or you want to connect with the church on Instagram or Facebook, there's also links to that on the website. I'm sure that Googling it would bring it up. We have a YouTube channel that has the sermons and that kind of stuff too. But hopefully, as the ladies come to the conference and they establish connections with women and they feel prayed for and cared for, you're welcome to continue to come. We still have that community that we'd love to offer. So it is a one-time event, hopefully to be repeated in years coming, but it's not the only time you're welcome.
Excellent. And it's March 13th, Friday, March 13th, and Saturday, March 14th at First Baptist Church.
Yes.
And it is the Christian Women's Conference, and it is Women's Month. So I love that we're doing this. I hope it's a very successful conference for you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I have to go to the 9 a.m. headline news. It was a great discussion. We could have gone way longer as well, just like the first segment. A lot of great things that we could have touched on as well. And I really appreciate you coming in and sharing information here. And I think definitely inspiring some of our listeners. And we do have a very Christian listenership. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people have appreciated this conversation for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
No problem at all.
And ladies, we'll see you at the conference.
Yes. Let's go to the 9 a.m. headline news.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
If you've got a trip coming up, you might want to plan ahead. The airport's authority says long-term parking at the Owen Roberts International Airport will be temporarily closed to allow for paving works to begin. Long-term parking will be available as space permits in the staff and short-term parking areas. In international news, new pictures show destruction in Tehran after 6 days of U.S.-Israeli strikes. Explosions have been seen across the Iranian capital this morning. In Israel, the military reports new attacks from Iran after explosions were seen in the sky earlier. The UAE says it intercepted 6 Iranian missiles and 131 drones today, but 1 missile and 6 drones fell inside the country. The UK embassy in the UAE earlier warned people to shelter in place. Across the region, explosions were reported in Qatar and Bahrain. Azerbaijan said it was attacked by 2 Iranian drones and a tanker was damaged in the northern Gulf. Iran said it hit a U.S. ship. Meanwhile, the first flight organized by the UK government to bring citizens home from the region has been delayed by a technical issue. The flight from Oman was due to take off last night, but will now set off today. One passenger told the BBC, quote, "It's a total farce." And in northern Iraq, Kurdish Iranians deny their forces have entered Iran, saying, quote, "We cannot move if the air above us is not cleaned." Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And in this segment, our last segment for this morning, I have somebody that I'm becoming pretty familiar with. Happy to see her. I see her a few times a year. Always a very happy, smiling face and a great person to speak with. And that is Danielle Hennings, Associate Director of Community Engagement at Cayman Finance. Good morning.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you, too.
We're also joined by Alexei Morris Seymour, who's an intern at Cayman Finance as well. You've just joined the team not that long ago, right?
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. How's your experience been so far?
It's been amazing. It's been a lot of work and a lot of learning about everything, yeah.
Good, excellent. All right, so we are here to talk about the LEAD internship program. So it opens doors for young Caymanians, just like you, Alexei, to explore careers in financial services. So let's get into how Cayman Finance is shaping these opportunities for the next generation. Sure. So we're going to talk about the companies that you partner with, your membership companies that you offer the internships with. So let's get into really what the LEAD internship program is all about.
Absolutely, yeah. So the LEAD program started back in 2015, actually, under a different name. At that time, it was called the Student Education and Work Experience Program. But the idea and the components of the program were the same. And it was the CEO of Cayman Finance at the time, Mr. Jude Scott, and the Minister for Education, Ms. Tara Rivers, who got together and said there was a gap for high schoolers in Cayman in terms of opening their eyes to some of the opportunities and careers available within financial services, this industry that's a powerhouse. It's so important to Cayman, to our way of life, and to our economy. And we need to do better to educate our young people on what those opportunities could look like for them in their future. So when it started, the idea was to do just that, introduce them to the industry through a series of workshops. So over 8 weeks, one session per week to get an overview of the industry, to learn specifically about the different sectors, whether that's banking and trust, insurance, reinsurance. Even those of us who have worked in the industry, like I started my career, you don't necessarily appreciate its vastness and all of the opportunities available within it. So through workshops, through mentorship, and then ultimately a work placement at the end of the workshops, you've really got a good idea of what's available to you. So we like to say it's more than just work experience. There's quite a bit that goes into it beforehand to help prepare our high schoolers for their first day on the job, showing up in an office with all big people and being ready to contribute positively and add some value.
Is it just for high schoolers or
It
university
is.
as well? Okay.
Yes, yeah. So this particular program is specifically for high school students. So the target market is dual enrollment students who are studying at UCCI. So they've finished year 11 at either Clifton Hunter or John Gray, and they've moved on to UCCI to dual enrollment, as well as students in the private school system who are on their second to last year of high school. So at St. Ignatius or Cayman Prep, that would be year 12 students in lower sixth, or in the American school system, grade 11. So it's all kind of the same age range, 16 to 17-year-olds who haven't yet perhaps applied to university or made a decision on what they want to study. And we have an opportunity to open their eyes to some opportunities locally.
Okay, excellent. You've been a few years now with Cayman Finance?
Yes, yeah, nearly 2.5 years now.
So the past 2.5 years, then you've seen how the LEAD program has grown, or the changes made and all the rest. What have you seen come out of it? Like, what's some of your favorite moments with it?
Well, yes, that's a really good question. I'd say, so just last week, before we launch and open applications, I try to get around to all the high schools and speak to the eligible students and share with them about the program, show a short video and just the benefits of doing it. My colleague said to me recently, like, how lucky are we to be right in front of our target audience, right, to talk about the program. So when I do that, I invite sometimes prior participants who are still in school, right? So they're year 12 students now, or grade 12. And just last week, I had so many kind of positive stories from those young people talking about the confidence they gained in the program, the relationships they built, the opportunities they have, the connections they've made. And like, I didn't script them. I didn't tell them what to say. And it was just their like genuine, honest kind of experiences. And I think just hearing them speak and address their classmates, at the front of the room, it's impressive. And so hearing from them, it's super rewarding, because obviously I say to them, I'm like, I think you should do it. It's a great program. We run it. But hearing from your peers who just did it and can kind of speak to what they took away from it, I think, that's quite rewarding.
I love that. Now, Alexei, for you, are you in one of these dual enrollment programs? Are you part of the LEAD program, or?
I'm a graduate intern.
Intern.
Yeah, so I just finished my master's in innovation management entrepreneurship. I was in London.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I had a chance to go to the career fair and speak to the year 11s and year 10s, and they were all very excited for LEAD for when they're eligible.
Do you remember when you were in high school about the LEAD program?
I wasn't aware of it when I was in high school. That was about almost 9 years ago. Yeah, so it's exciting to see the opportunities that they had that I didn't really know about back then.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so when you've seen some of the teenagers now that are hearing about this program, what's your reaction to it?
No, it's lovely. We had a lot of students that were very excited about it in year 11, especially at the career fair. There was a girl as well. She was so excited. She's like, yeah, she's going to study accounting in the sixth form, and she's going to do business and everything. She's like, I'm so excited. I want to do it. And she thought it was for then, but then we got to explain to her it's after the first year. So at least getting that first year of sixth form was a good insider to what she could possibly do and have more to participate and know more about the services in the LEAD program.
I like it. Danielle, do you think that you're seeing a little bit more direction from the teenagers into their career paths?
Yes, I think so. I think so. The program ran 2015 to 2019, and then it paused during COVID. So 2020 to 2022, there was none. And so there's a group of high schoolers who wouldn't have had the opportunity to participate. We've since revamped. We've done 23, 24, 25. So we've had 3 years. So I think there has been a buzz, to use your show's name, amongst classmates and schoolmates who are aware of something that's happening. And I think that's quite exciting for us that, it's less advertising we might have to do when it's just good word of mouth. And it was a great experience for me, so you should do it too. And so it's great to kind of see that momentum build up again and the excitement to participate in something that we put a lot of time into making it come together. We rely a lot on our members to mentor, to provide the opportunities. And so it being well received, I think, it's what makes it so rewarding to be a part of.
It's that relationship with your members that does make the LEAD program so important, so impactful,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So can you explain to us how the LEAD program does align with the broader goals of community engagement arm at Cayman Finance and, especially with your members?
Yeah, definitely. So community engagement generally for us as an organization is bringing the community along in what we do as an industry. In some cases, that's really personal because you're employed in the industry, and so it's your means and the way you're making a living. And we've been focusing on recently a lot on talent development and trying to encourage more young Caymanians to enter the industry and to see themselves in it outside of maybe the most traditional roles that you would expect, but to see that there's other kind of growing areas or new opportunities. It's still helpful to have a background as an accountant or to study law. But once you get into the industry, there's a lot of doors that are opened. And even if you don't study either of those career paths, there's still a place for you. So I think, definitely it's a part of our whole outreach or our engagement with the community. I think we focus a lot on talent development because it's what our people are concerned about. People want jobs. They want to make sure that they're well-paid jobs, they're looked after. And, we don't have a shortage of opportunities in Cayman in terms of employment. We have more jobs than people available. So it's helping to get the skills, the attributes, the qualities, that you need to fill those roles that are in demand.
Yes. So how does the main objectives of LEAD, how is it different from your other internship program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Alexei's joined us as a university intern, a graduate now. But we run a program internally at Cayman Finance where each quarter we bring on 1 or 2 interns to work with us. Most of them are studying either locally at UCCI or they're studying abroad at another university, and they have time and they want to work. And so they'll work with us remotely in some cases, which is quite a unique opportunity. Not a lot of companies do that, I don't think. Or they work with us in person and they're such great help. We had an event earlier this week, and so Alexei's doing registration, making sure we're set up. We do a lot of work. We have quite a small team, so we love tapping into the talent that we can. We're really proud. I want to say we're at 20 interns now in terms of cohorts that have come through Cayman Finance since Steve became CEO back in September 2022. So that's a program that we all are quite invested in internally, and our interns add a lot of value and they help us do things that we wouldn't be able to do without them. But that's a different age range, as you can tell, right? So they're university students or university graduates, whereas LEAD is focused at our high schoolers.
I love that you pointed out that the interns definitely help you along with what's going on in your industry and at Cayman Finance, because I mean, sometimes interns are treated as, okay, what are we going to give you to do, and are they getting in the way? And but you say no, they really do help. It's a huge help. That's just a great thing to hear.
Yeah,
So,
no,
love to
I'm
hear
honestly like we give them so much work. You heard Alexei, she's like got so much to do. We just we're strapped for time. You know, there's a lot we want to accomplish, and when we have extra time, it's really beneficial. So no, they're great contributors, I'd say, and we always want to say to them too, like we want them to leave the experience taking something away. Like, what do you want to get out of it? What are your goals? What connections do you want to make? And we try to facilitate that as much as possible. So,
I love that.
and we keep them in touch. We have like an alumni, so we get together in the summer and try to get them all together. And I think it's a unique opportunity for university students who are looking, to make some money. They're studying, but they maybe don't have a full course load, and they have the ability to contribute.
Yeah, learn a little bit, network, get their foot in the door a little bit more. Yes, exactly. I like it. We're going to take a quick commercial break right now, but when we come back, we'll get into the final details of the LEAD program.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
An evening of music takes you on a tour of Echoes of Spring, Rhythms of the Heart, a John Gray Memorial Concert at the Hartwell Theatre on Sunday, March 15 at 6 p.m. An impressive lineup of local talents including Glenn Inanga, Eric Nicholson, Karen Carafelli, Anika Jefferson, and more. Tickets are $25 and bring a guest for free. In support of the Lillanelle Ebanks Music Fund. WhatsApp 925-5531 to get your tickets today. That's 925-5531. Echoes of Spring, Rhythms of the Heart. Sunday, March 15 at 6 p.m. at the Hartwell Theatre.
The 8:12 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
It's back. It's crispy. It's delicious. St. Ignatius Youth Ministry presents Friday Fish Fry Nights. 5 weeks of flavor. February 27, March 6, 13, 20th, and the 27th. Serving from 5 until 7:30 p.m. at the St. Ignatius School Canteen. Dine in or take out. Menu includes fried or baked snapper $17 or mai $15. Served with fries or rice, coleslaw, escovitch, fritters, and more. Drinks just $1. Free desserts while they last. Eat good, do good. Every bite supports our youth ministry trip to the Steubenville High School Youth Conference in Orlando, Florida this summer. Come hungry, leave happy. See you there.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. We are here talking about the LEAD internship program, and this is with Cayman Finance. And in studio with me, I have Associate Director. We have Danielle Hennings, and you'll have to be familiar with her because she's been on with me a few times. Love talking with her. It was great to hear from her. And then we also have Alexei Morris-Seymour, who's an intern right now with Cayman Finance. So part of your internship, Alexei, what do you do there on a daily basis?
Okay, so my internship right now is based mostly on marketing and events. So I'm doing quite a bit of the work on socials and making sure that we have our reach, because one of the things that we do is also promote Cayman Financial Services. So a big thing is just trying to see how we can widen our reach and make sure that people even outside the Cayman Islands and even our own Caymanians know about the opportunities in the financial services. So that's a really big project that we're doing, and I'm really excited. It's a lot of work to do, yeah.
When you, with your master's degree and what you've studied, when you came back to Cayman, you were looking to get into work, was Cayman Finance a place that you were drawn to, or were you trying to just kind of see where you could get your foot in the door? And has it been able to also kind of help push you in the direction that you're trying to go?
Okay, so I'd say with my degree, I feel like I'm very creative as well. So that entrepreneurial side, I thought to myself, I think an opportunity to work in a close team where you can innovate and also just have that impact. I've always been passionate about my community as well. So I thought to myself, this opportunity with Cayman Finance Minister Michael Miles actually connected me with Steve. So we had a good conversation. He said, you know what, I think you're a perfect fit. So I thought to myself, you know, this is a great opportunity, and I love the work that Cayman Finance does, and I feel that I'm contributing quite a bit. So I think it's a really great opportunity.
All right. Big up Michael Miles for that, Minister Miles. Okay, so we're going to get back to the LEAD program here. How long does the program run for, and when can the interns kind of start applying? When can people start applying for this? What are the
Right.
details
So
there?
our application form went live on the 27th of February. So applications are live now until the 27th of March. So we'll run for a month. The program launches at the end of April with a launch event where mentees and mentors meet each other for the first time. And then the following week, the very first week of May, workshops begin. So workshops run throughout May and June, ending the last week of June. At that point, then the successful participants, so they've showed up at all the sessions, they meet with their mentor, have the opportunity to do a 4-week work placement in July or August. So just depending on, you know, your summer schedule, what you've got going on. And our companies too, our members that participate have different times that they can host students. And so it really starts last week of April, finishes first or second week of September with a celebration event.
Okay, but we start off with some workshops here.
That's right.
For the interns that have been successful.
Yes.
So what's involved in the workshop before they get placed?
Yeah, so the very first one is always Introduction to Financial Services, where we try to cover the whole industry in an hour. And just, we give an idea, a big overview of what it is, and just to kind of capture their interest and show them what's to come. We then delve into the different sectors. So we'll do a whole session on investment funds. That's a huge kind of part of the industry and a lot where a lot of our work comes from. So having them understand what a fund is, like how does it work? Why is it set up in Cayman? Is important to give them that foundational knowledge. We do have a workshop on careers and supporting roles to kind of see yourself in any aspect of the business and what that could look like. We do focus on soft skills, and we do some role play in that session, which is always fun. It's like how to show up for work, or, you know, how to conduct yourself and how not to, and that's enjoyable. The students act it out. We then have specific sessions on 2 popular career paths, which are public accounting and legal services. So again, to just kind of show them the big picture of what it could be. So by the end of the workshops, they've got quite an overview. And I say, like, they go home and they know more in some cases than like their parents if they're not working in the industry, or even those of us that worked in the industry that's in one particular sector that doesn't necessarily know the whole overview. They've got such a great knowledge at that point, and I think an appreciation for the industry, which is also what we want. We want it to be seen as something positive, that's really important for our community and for our way of life. And I think if you don't understand it, it's hard to get that message across.
Absolutely. I agree. Listen, you mentioned a workshop there that I was like, I feel like I need to sit in on this workshop. I'll just moonlight as I'm covering it for media. But I feel like there's something I could learn there for sure as well. And, you know, I'm in my mid-40s. So what the 17-year-olds are learning, I could learn too. It's never too late for that. So I like that. I think that's great. I like how you will try to set them up for success first, instead of just, okay, boom, you like this, we found this company, maybe you'll be a fit here.
Yeah.
But I like that instead you're setting them up, you're giving them the broader understanding, and then zoning in on a couple industries, key career paths in the industry, and just how to conduct yourself professionally. It's a big thing too, because a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah, how to communicate.
Even in my age,
Yeah.
a lot of people still don't know this. So I think it's great what you guys are doing in the preparation for those interns before they're placed with the different companies. I like that. So for the interns that are applying, what is their application process like? What do you look for? What would help them stand out?
Yeah, great question. So it's a short form that you have to fill out, giving regular information, your name, date of birth, what school you go to. We do ask for support to prove like you're Caymanian and that you have health insurance. Those are a couple of requirements for admission into the program. And then we ask, why you want to participate, what's drawn you to participate in the LEAD program, as well as what are some of your hobbies and interests, what are you interested in studying? And those questions are really like to help us match them to a mentor. I'm going to ask my mentors the same questions. What are your hobbies and interests? And try to, it doesn't always have to be like, I'm interested in accounting, I need to be matched with an accountant, right? It could be, you could have other things that you have in common, and then you develop that relationship. Sometimes the mentee and mentor might be on different ideas of what they want to do as a career path, and that's okay. I think the benefit of that relationship is practicing those skills that you talked about, and communicating via email, showing up on time to meet with your mentor, being dressed appropriately. They're preparing themselves for the world of work, which they're going into in a few weeks' time after they wrap those up. I think too, we do reach out to the schools to confirm a certain GPA and that their behavior is of a certain level, because for us that's really important, that you're coming ready to learn, and you're going to attend the sessions and be a good contributor in that way.
Right, and not be disruptive
Yes,
or unruly
yeah.
in any way. Yes, I can understand that. What about for the mentors, preparing them and your members that are taking on these interns? How do you kind of prepare them, and what do you look for in the mentorship aspect?
Yeah, definitely. So at the start, we do a call for mentors to our membership, and it first goes out to everybody who's previously participated, who has been a part of the program and, kind of knows the ropes. And so a lot of times we have a lot of repeat mentors who sign up again and are ready to contribute. We do often get new mentors as well. We set them up for success by having an orientation session, which I say to them at the start, I'm like, I know you know how to mentor. I'm not, we've all been blessed. If you're in that position, you've had somebody who's had a positive impact on you, right? And you want to pay it forward. And so I said, I think you know how to mentor. What I want to share with you is a little bit about the students that you're going to be mentoring and this program in general, to kind of give them some information on what their mentee is going to be going through, so they can best support them. Throughout the program too, we send our mentors weekly guidance sheets, which gives them, the topic that was studied during the workshop, and some talking points, some ideas, some things they can go over with their mentee. We give them tasks like they have to work together to work on their mentee's resume, get them prepared for a real interview, do a mock interview. So there are certain kind of activities outside of regular mentoring that we get them involved in, and we want it to be a positive experience. And I've heard from our mentors, we provide them with that support, which they really appreciate, because it can be daunting. You're a big professional and you've got to speak to somebody who you were in their shoes a long time ago, and you want to connect with them. And so by us providing some helpful information, I think, and some ideas, some questions you can ask, it's normally well received, and then that relationship evolves over time, and then they probably don't need to look at my sheets, and they they carry on, but it's helpful in the beginning, I'm sure.
I think that's great. So it's very much being set up for success here, because you're focusing on the participants of the LEAD program, and then you're focusing on making sure the mentors have what they need. But it sounds very organized in the supporting materials for the mentor as well. I think that's huge. We're about to end, so I just want to ask a couple final questions here. But one for you, Alexei, for anybody who is looking to participate in the LEAD program and is going to get their application together, any words of advice that you would give, having just, gone through an internship process yourself?
I'd say, especially at the career fair, I got to speak to a lot of students who said, I'm not even sure I am interested in the financial services. And I thought to myself, at the end of the day, this is an opportunity that you never know, especially a lot of our members have other departments that are not necessarily so focused in financial sectors. I was like, this is an opportunity for you to build relationships with employers, with companies, and you never know the opportunities that are out there. So I would say to any applicants, especially if you're not sure, I'm not sure I want to be a lawyer or an accountant, you never know, the possibilities are endless. So I would say to still apply.
You're not missing out on anything.
Exactly.
You're gaining,
Exactly.
if anything. All right. How do people apply?
So you can visit our website, which is caymanfinance.ky/lead, LEAD. And if you scroll to the bottom of that page, there'll be a link to apply now. It'll take you to a form, and you fill out the form, and that's it.
We go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on The Buzz. Appreciate having you on. If there's any last message you want to leave with our listeners, now's the time.
Okay. No, just I thank you so much, Kathy, for having us. And I think we always enjoy coming on Radio Cayman and speaking about these programs that we're passionate about and that we think are making a difference for the community. So just thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Great to have you. Good luck in your experience with Cayman Finance. I know you're with a great team.
Yes.
Love a lot of the people there, and especially I think Steve is doing an incredible job in leading Cayman Finance too. So thank you, everybody. Everybody who's listening out there, have a wonderful Thursday. It is International Women's Day, and that is a month. It's now a month, guys and ladies. International Women's Day is Sunday, March 8th, which is also my dog's 10th birthday. So happy birthday almost to my dog, Brandy. I love you very much. I know you're not listening. But anyways, I just needed to express that. So that's that. Everybody have a good rest of the week, and I'll be back with you next week on The Buzz. The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman, your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors